what better to talk about motion blur than an airplane? You will have access to that FBX files also, which will allow you, there's actually a UV on it, which allow you to play with shader and do whatever you want. Window, let's see if there is still UV modeling editor, UV texture editor. Yes, UV, everything is fine. But for now, let's look at putting a shader on it, lighting, shading, assign favorite material. Now we assign a new material, and it will be a redshift material again. So we have a redshift material assigned to it. We will create a light, and we will create again a dome light. Then we assign our trusted paper mill, because we want to see some stuff flying by. Desktop, my computer, new volume, Dropbox, GNOME, HDI, paper mill, and we will do first a quick IPA render. And we realize nothing is rendering. Why? Because look, it's a new file, it's a new scene, and Maya revert to Arnold render. So now it's sending everything to the IPR. And everything is there. Let's adjust the shader a little bit. Yeah, I'm not too happy with the shader. Let's do something quick. Redshift material, let's do plastic, let's do blue. Let's make it like a 3D print resin. Let's go with the roughness that is higher, lower, not too much but not too little. And here we'll take it down a little bit. Okay. Fairly okay at this point. What we could be doing to visualize the how do you call that? To visualize the motion blur, we will assign very quickly a shader on those propeller, on the tip of the propeller. I think assign new material, lighting, shading, assign new material. Okay, shader, redshift material, and this one will be red. Or yellow. I will say red. So the idea will just be to help me visualize the propeller turning. Let's go back into the IPR. That's fairly okay. So we know the propeller are turning, right? They should be updating. I just moved my frame. Yep, they do. Perfect. Now we will be going into my render setting, and we will look into output for motion blur. Which is here. We will enable the motion blur. And you see here it's already starting. Transformation step, let's put it at 3. Frame duration lower. Oh, sorry, higher. See more. Shutter start down, and here shutter end low, higher. Sorry. Let's give it 10. We can only do 1. Then let's start at 0. And what we will need to do actually to see it better is go in the Window, General, Animation Editor, Graph Editor, and then we will grab those propeller, and we will make sure that they rotate way faster. Nice. And frame duration higher, and let's see if we can put something higher there. So it goes so fast that you almost do not see it. That's where I will take it down from the shutter speed. You can see there more and more. Let's see if we do shutter efficiency. It's not perfect. Center on frame, start on frame, which allow you to decide at what moment, look, end on frame, You see how it changed the position of your motion blur, center on frame. So that's good. The next stuff we'll be doing is, because we want to see a lot of motion blur, we will put the plane in a group. We will center the pivot on the group. We'll turn off the IPA for now. We will move that plane here at frame 0, and then at frame 40 the plane is here, and it did affect a full loop, sorry, a barrel roll. Okay, something like that. Now if we look at our IPA, we can see a very strong motion blur on the plane. It is obviously not what we want to do. What we want to do is to have a camera. Let's create a camera. Create a camera which is camera and M. Then the M will be here. Let me grab the M. Will be here, will be there, and the M will be attached to window outliner. My camera group is here. My camera M will be under the group from the airplane, which is this one. Let's put the camera M under group 1. So this is actually not a good idea what I did. We will just do it by hand. So we will have camera M be here, and we will have it follow the plane. See at frame 0, 40, it is here. So, and the camera should be, let's move panel look through selected. Camera should be here. Perfect. Now let's have a look in the IPA. So as you can see, we have a super strong motion blur. And at frame 20, it's even worse. So, and you see at the speed at which it's rendering, right? Let me do a final render. I'm not even tweaking any value like here. If I come here and I start to play with those values, you will see, let's say 128 and say 64. This will take a little bit more time, but we will get less noise in the depth of field, in the motion blur, and it will be way cleaner. And I can go like that and rank up my what do you call that? I can rank up my sample. Okay, let's look at the group here. That's really annoying. The group, we will tell him stop doing that. Okay. Our camera, we would also tell the camera to stop doing what's doing. This one and this one here, we will grab the M outliner. The camera is here, camera group. The M should be not doing any of that stuff. Delete. Keyframe. Now we are here. We know that we want the M into the group. Actually, we want the camera group into the group. So now if the group is moving, the camera is following. Then inside the group, we get everything again except the camera, and we group it again and we call it plane. So it has nothing to do with Redshift, right? It's just basic, very basic Maya stuff. Then we grab the group here, and the group is moving 140. So meaning everything is traveling together. You see how my camera did follow the plane? Now I can go here for the plane and tell him at frame 1 you are like this. At frame 40, you did a full barrel roll. I did not adjust my pivot, but it's completely irrelevant. So if I come here and look at that, this is exactly what happened. So now we can look at the IP again. Oh mon dieu, mon dieu, mon dieu, we did crash. Again, as I mentioned before, if I crash, I will not hide it. Let me restart Maya and let us going again. We are now roughly where we were before the crash. And let's look into what we are doing there. We have the red paint, we have the airplane, we have the environment. Let's click on the motion blur. And output, we are looking at motion blur, which is here. We enable motion blur. We could also, we don't need the deformation motion blur, which is a little bit slower, but deformation motion blur is for when you have geometry that get deformed through joint or stuff like that, or other mean of deformation. But in this case, we are just doing translation and rotation. This is why we are fine. Or now we have a strong motion blur. Perfect. Then we move a couple of frames more just to see what's going on. This is good. And let's move somewhere here. So we are not moving fast enough to see motion blur on the environment, but if we were moving faster, we will see it on the environment. It's just because the environment is too big. That's why we will close that, and we will quickly create a polygon cube, a bunch of little cube here that will show us that we are indeed motion blur. Let's do that. One there, one there, there, and there. Then we'll grab all of that. And assign orange shader or something like that to them. Assign new material, shader redshift in material, and then let's give them just orange, boring. Now we move our camera back to the plane because we want to follow the plane, and we move forward, and this is what we get. IP here, and as you can see, we have motion blur going on, strong motion blur. Now, what if I try to push it a little bit forward? Not only do I have motion blur, but what about depth of field? Let's look at the camera window outliner. Again, you have access to the plane yourself. You can recreate what I'm doing right now, or you could even do something better. As always, don't imitate, innovate. Look at what I show you, grab some idea. Maybe you do it even better than I do. Maybe you don't even need that video. It's really up to you. Or maybe you are a professional and you just get inspired from, it's happened to me all the time. It's like I know how to do something and I have a way of doing it, and then I look at someone else doing something and I realize either I've been doing it wrong all the time, or that person is doing it in a way that I did not think about and it's actually better than my way. And what do I do when this is the case? Then I just go ahead and do it his way. Here we grab again bokeh here, and we know that the plane is roughly modify center pivot 135, then camera bokeh 135, 1.35, and my circle radius is 0.2, still too strong. 0.02. Actually, something is not going the way I want. 1.035 is actually the value I got here, and nope, 0.35. Better. Okay. I don't even add photogrammetric value, but for now, let's do a render and maybe crank a little bit up those little value here from 64 to 128. So, and let's render. It is actually good, but let's see if we can we have at 8 seconds, let's say if we say 0.03, which will increase the render time just a tiny bit. Let's see if we can see a difference. 0.9, there's not much of a difference now. Let's go 128 to 256. Now it took more time to render, but you can see in those areas here that we are getting a lot less noise, and I could crank up my value a little bit more until I get an acceptable result. We went from 8 seconds to 9 to 14, and just for fun, let's give him more transformation step, 5, and let's do it again. And you can see there's quite a difference here. So it was for the MotionBlur, which is something that I use quite often. But I just want you guys to realize it's we're having MotionBlur, depth of field at the same time. And you know what? Let's turn on the irradiance gauge, brute force global illumination. Let's put it at 5. Let's give it 32 amount of ray. We have blurry reflection, we have depth of field, we have motion blur, we have global illumination. Let's see what our render times are. This is for me something that is really hard to conceive, that a couple of years ago those features were super expensive. Now they are mostly, I will not say free obviously, but they are very easy to use. And look, render time 22 seconds. Now I could tweak the value to get higher. Even if I was at 1 minute, I would be super happy. I guess I could spend some time and tweak the value, and if I come up to 1 minute, it's a done deal. I am happy. So we will now move to another chapter that will be very short, again, straightforward. Until now we did use mostly IBL with two specific IBL. I think it's time now to look into backplate.